Bechoros Daf Memvav, the Gemara says one of the most fascinating stories in Shas. There was a Rebbe in school who had an extremely bad habit. He would hit his kids in his class to the point where they would die, says Rashi. Naturally, they had to remove him from his post, and they made a neder, this Rebbe will never teach again. But they realized very quickly that this Rebbe is irreplaceable. This Rebbe is extremely precise in the way he taught, and they had no choice but to undo the neder and put this Rebbe back into his position. Incredible. And with that, we finish Perek Elu Mumim, and we're going to start Perek Yesh Bechor. When it comes to Bechor, there's two types of Bechorim. There's Peter Rechem, the firstborn that requires Pidyon Haben, and then there's the firstborn that gets two parts of the Yerusha. Peter Rechem means the first that opened the womb, and it's dependent on opening the womb. When it comes to Yerusha, it's dependent on Reishis Oinoi, the one that the father mourns over. Therefore, there's a tremendous difference. There's possibilities where you just have the firstborn, where you chayiv to do Pidyon Haben, and he doesn't get two parts of the Yerusha, and there's a Bechar that gets two parts of Yerusha, and you don't have to do Pidyon Haben. And there's a Bechar that you don't do either, or there's a Bechar that you do both. What are the cases? Says the Mishnah, if, for instance, the opening in the womb occurred where the mother had twins, and one of the twins was born in the 8th month, even if it was born with its head alive, we know that this twin is not going to survive. Therefore, the father is not attached to that one, so the second one that comes out is the one he's attached to and gets two parts of the Yerusha. But since the mother already gave birth to the 8-month one, so there's no Pidyon Haben on the second one. The same case would be if the mother gave birth in her 9th month, one of the twins was 9 months old, but it came out dead. If the woman gave birth to something that resembled a sandal, meaning a flat fetus, or an amniotic sac, or a developed embryo, or the fetus came out cut, so again, it's a situation where she gave birth, so anything that comes after, any birth afterwards, is considered a second birth, and you don't have to do Pidyon Haben. However, the father gets attached to the second one, and therefore he gives him two portions of the Yerusha. There's a machlokes though, if she gave birth to something that resembles a behemah chayav ha'oif, Reb Meir says that it's considered a Peter Rechem, it's considered a real birth, and Chacham say that's not a birth. If a person never had children and he married a woman who already had children, that she had children while she was a goya or a shivcha, so Chachamim hold that's considered Peter Rechem, she already gave birth, and anything she had after becoming Jewish is not considered the firstborn because she already had a child previously when she was a goy or a shivcha. However, Rabbi Yosef Glili says no, any birth that occurs before you become Jewish, it doesn't count for Peter Rechem because it says Peter Rechem bi Yisrael. The Peter Rechem has to happen when you're Jewish. A person had children and he married a woman that didn't have children. So this is a case where the next child from his new wife is a Peter Rechem to this woman, so he requires a Pidyon Haben, but he's not going to get two portions of Kahuna because this father already has children from another woman. Or in a case where the father and the mother both became Gerim at the same time while she was pregnant, in this case, unfortunately, the father has no yichus to his own child because Ger Kikan Shenoil Adami, so therefore this child does not get two portions of Yerusha, but he does require Pidyon Haben, he'll have to do it for himself. In a case where a child of a Kohenes and a child of a Yisraelis, or a child of a Leviah and a Yisraelis, got mixed up, so we know for a fact that the father had a firstborn, he is required to do Pidyon Haben, but he doesn't know to who to do the Pidyon Haben. So he has to give the Kohen 5 slime, but there's no chiyuv of two portions of Yerusha because he doesn't know who his son is. If the child was born and we don't know if it's from who the father is, because this woman was married to two separate men, she didn't wait the necessary 3 months. Again, it's a question of who the father is. So the son is definitely a Bechar, the kid is definitely a Bechar, but you don't get two portions in the Nachal. When is birth considered a birth? At what point of the birth? So when it comes to saying that the woman is tameh because she gave birth, or to say that she has 33 free days or 66 free days, depending on Zachar and Nekeva, then we say when the forehead comes out, that's when it's considered a birth. We know the halach of Ben Bekur, we had it extensively in Chulin, that if you shech the mother, you could eat the offspring. But what if the offspring stuck its head out? there it has to be the whole head, not just the forehead. So once the head comes out completely, even if the fetus pulled its head back into the stomach, the shechita doesn't work for the fetus. By a behema and a person, both, if the baby came out feet first, so you don't have the halacha of roishoy, of padachas, of a forehead, so what's considered a birth? Over there we go by majority of the baby that comes out. And the Gemara says that we have to say the halacha by an animal, we have to say the halacha by a human, because humans, their face is chashav, so therefore I would think that when the face comes out, that is considered the birth, but by an animal, there's no importance to the face. On the other hand, by an animal, since the birth is exposed, so once the face comes out, I would think that's the birth, but by humans, since the thighs kind of hide the birth, so I would think that the head itself is not considered a birth, kamash malon. Now, the Mishnah by us says that the head came out by a nafel. What the Mishnah means is that even by a nafel, even by a 9-month-old, what we go by is just the head, and we don't go like Shmuel, who says that you have to do most of the body. According to everybody, when it comes to Bechar, when it comes to a Kayin, it's when the forehead comes out. That's what is considered a P'tur for Bechara. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, the same halacha applies to inheritance. In other words, if you have twins, the one that came out, the forehead came out first, that's the one that gets 2 portions. Why? Because it says Yakir, you have to recognize, and a father, according to Rabbi Yochanan, can recognize his son just by the forehead. According to Rish Lakish, in order to really recognize, you need the nose as well, so the forehead is not enough, you need the forehead and the nose. When it comes to testifying that a woman's husband is deceased, then you need witnesses that saw the husband's forehead and nose. Why? Because it says hakaras peneim. You have to recognize the whole face. Even though Chachamim said by an aguna we could be mekel and we could take the testimony of a woman, of a shifcha, even second-hand testimony, eid mipi eid, nevertheless, the initial testimony that the recognition of the dead person has to be done properly with the nose, with the face, and with real eidim. Have a wonderful day.